Hello guys, my name is Bemiga Peter Olubayo and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be discussing how best you can migrate to Canada in 2023 and beyond. And I do have a guest who is able to do justice to that. All right, everyone, we are being joined by Said. He's a permanent resident of Canada and is passionate about speaking about people coming to Canada for the most reason that he enjoys the system there. All right, Said, it's a pleasure to meet you today. Do you mind introducing yourself very quickly?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Sahid. I'm a doctor of chemical pathology and currently a permanent resident of Canada, and I'm super glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So I think we can proceed into the main deal for today. We'll be considering hearing from you the best route for people to come to Canada in 2023 and beyond.
Yeah, so thanks very much for that question. So I would say there are actually several ways to migrate to Canada in 2023, but I would just enumerate the ones that are really very popular with the people right now and the ones that we can say are the best at the moment. So the first of all is the Express Entry program, and that's the federal nomination one. Secondly, we got the Labor Market Impact Assessment, which is called for short, the LMIA, that has to do with the work visa. And thirdly, we got the various provincial nominations, which is summarized as what is called the PNP, which is the Provincial Nominee Programs. So we got various provinces nominating people, and depending on what skills you've got, your background, and what is the labor market they're looking for in their own province. So that's the broad way to categorize the various ways that people come into Canada. However, looking at it, taking a deep dive of what we just talked about. So the Express Entry, that's the one that is the federal Canadian immigration program that allows for immigrants to live and work in Canada as skilled workers. And this you do via the getting into the pool via the Express Entry, and which is done via the website, which we're going to put on the screen, and it's just the cic.gc.ca. The Express Entry program, which allows individual provinces also, as well as the territories that we got in Canada, to use the system in order to recruit suitable candidates as part of their own provincial nominee programs so that the labor markets that they demand are met. So this system also allows for the Citizenship and Immigration Canada. That's the one that, when you're talking about people who already immigrated to Canada for one reason or the other, it might be they came into the country as foreign workers, and some of them also came into the country as students. So these are the ones that actually it allows them to also find their way and change their status. So under this federal immigration, which is the Express Entry, we got three sub-programs broadly. So which are the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Federal Skilled Trades Program, and the Canadian Experience Program. So if I would just put a little explanation to that. So starting with the first subcategory, which is the FSWP, which is the Federal Skilled Worker Program. It's one of the three pathways within the Express Entry that allow people to work in Canada, and it's an online application system that you can use to manage candidates eligible for permanent residency looking for employment in Canada. So this FSWP, it is specifically for those without prior Canadian work experience that haven't been invited by any provincial nominee program. That is, no province has actually invited them, because you can't have a provincial program nomination and at the same time have a federal nomination. So if the province hasn't nominated you and you apply to the federal and you get it without any Canadian experience, like I said, then you're good. You can accept such nomination. So when creating the Express Entry profile, you actually ranked within the pool with what is called the CRS score. So there is a score that is used, which you have various criteria that they put together to come about this score. And basically what is put together that is considered the CRS score, the first of them is the work experience. So you're required to have a skilled work experience within managerial or professional or technical occupation categories. So depending on where you belong. And recently, I remember the country late last year, also switched. So all these occupation we're talking about, they got different categories which they subdivided into. So which is called the national. So it's called the National Occupational Classification. So it is shortened as the NOC or the NOC. So the NOC or the NOC system has been revised late last year. So I think around November, it was revised to a 5-digit format where you would have 5 digits that really define your own profession. So for instance, someone that is a pharmacy technician has got a code which I actually put that down somewhere as 32124. So that is just a typical example of how you understand what the NOC is all about. Apart from the work experience, what also counts is the language proficiency. So you need to provide a language proficiency where an approved language test, excuse me, an approved language test really assess your reading, listening, writing, and speaking skills in English and or French. So the two languages that are really very useful in Canada are English and French. So and our proficiency you have in both languages will really help you to determine the CRS score. So also apart from the, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Said. I'm wondering because a lot of people are probably quite aware of CRS score and they're wondering if they can ever meet the requirements. So, year by year, the Canadian government keep increasing that score, isn't it? So, because first of all, most of the first thing that puts people off, in my experience, about Canadian Federal Express entry is that score. So what are the things people can do quickly that can increase their score, if there is anything like that?
So, you're very right. So in Canada, there is actually no one size fit all, type of profile program. So it means if you try to jump on the Federal Express nomination and you think it's really too high for you to climb because of the score actually keeps fluctuating. But again, if based on the fluctuations that you have, it goes up sometimes, it reduces, so it depends. So if you find it really difficult to get on the express entry nomination for the federal, there are other options. So and like I said, the various provinces, they also do nominate people, and the territories that we've got in Canada. So that is kind of a little bit, I wouldn't say easier, but it's kind of an option. So if you're not able to get on the federal nomination, so you can actually apply on the provincial nomination. So and with that one, because ideally for those that would get on the express entry nomination for the federal, it is actually best for people that are under 30. So if you're under 30, it's best for you because you would be able to maximize the score. And of course, you should have at least a bachelor's degree or say a master's degree program that you've completed, and also be able to demonstrate a very high level of proficiency in English or in French. And at least you've got 3 years of work experience, that skilled work experience. So if you're not able to, if you're not able to get all of those like ready immediately, then you might be looking at other options, like you said, things that you can actually do to boost your CRS score before I go on to the provincial nomination are things like, say, higher language proficiency. Like for instance, if you wrote an English or French language proficiency exam and you feel you haven't got the maximum score, you can actually rewrite. So again, apart from that, if you had a bachelor's degree and you feel you can actually finish a master's degree program within a short while, or you're already on it and you just want to complete it before you get into the pool, that's also something you can do. So as well, apart from that, you can if you have a family already living in Canada or that just migrated to Canada, that could also help increase your chances. So I'll save that. We're talking about the provincial nomination. Basically, in Canada, we got 10 provinces and we got 3 territories in the country. So in which the vast majority of them are also in different, they've got different platforms to get people in. Take, for instance, I'm just going to mention quite a few of them, and just to put it out there for people who are probably interested, I'm very sure the most popular province in Canada today, I might be wrong, but I think, in my own opinion, is Ontario. So this is because this is where we got the 2 big cities that we got in the country, Ottawa and Toronto. So Ontario, for instance, have got their own Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, which is referred to as the OINP. And because this province is the economic base of the country, like I said, where we also got a seat of government. So they got this program that actually is dependent on what is called, the most popular one of what they do is called the Human Capital Priority Stream. So the Human Capital Priority Stream, it gives foreign workers with required skilled work experience, the language abilities and education opportunity to apply permanently to live and work in Ontario. So you can live anywhere in the province. And by that, you need to just have a valid profile on the Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada, which is called the IRCC Express Entry System. So all you need to do is to be in the pool, receive a nomination of interest from Ontario before you can apply for, you can apply online to be nominated by the Ontario government for permanent residency. So by that, you would have, we'll put a link also, anyone that wants to jump on that, you can actually do that. But basically it is via the www.ontario.ca, and there you would get all the information that has, all the information relating to that. So apart from Ontario, I know in Ontario, usually the score is based on the IRCC thing. And there is this IRCC scoring technique that uses 100. So you need to get up to 67 for you to be nominated. So apart from that, you also have the province of Alberta. Alberta is very popular as well, apart from Ontario. Alberta has got also the 2 popular cities of Edmonton and Calgary. So these 2 cities are also very popular outside of Canada, but also for Alberta, they've got their own system is named the Alberta Express Entry System.
Okay.
So that allows Alberta province to nominate qualified candidates for from the IRCC entry system, express entry system, like I said. And in their own situation, in their own case, the candidate must have an express entry profile with the government of Canada to be considered. And the candidate receives a notification of interest, which is the NOI letter from Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, which is called the AAIP. And the candidates must also now email a copy of the NOI letter to the AAIP and also state that they're interested in applying to the AAIP. So by doing that, the AAIP determines if the candidate meets the minimum eligibility criteria, and that's to apply. And if they do meet the the minimum eligibility criteria, then they would receive an email inviting them to submit an application. And the candidate now, if they do meet the assessment criteria, they do have to submit an application. So they submit an application, and after completing that, then they considered for processing. So there is, from there you determine whether, the entire process takes a while for it to be completed by the province. But basically, you do require a minimum of a comprehensive ranking system, which is a CRS. You do require a CRS score minimum of 300, which is 300. So for our Alberta province, you do need to have an express entry profile with a minimum score putting together of 300. The third province is the province of I would like to talk about today is the province of Saskatchewan. So the province of Saskatchewan has also got two major cities. It looks like every province has got like two major cities, you know. So in the province of Saskatchewan as well, the two major cities are Saskatoon and Regina. So the Saskatchewan immigration program is named the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, so which is the SINP. And the SINP, the website for theirs is the www.saskatchewan.ca. So in this, the most popular that we got under this program, the SINP, is the International Skilled Worker. So the International Skilled Worker is the one, you do require a minimum, the total score is 110. So of this 110, you require to have at least 60 points. So, and the 60 points, you can really acquire that via education. So if you do have, for instance, a master's degree, so it contributes to higher score for you for education. Work experience. So in Saskatchewan, they do require, high number of years rather of work experience, because take for instance, if you do have a 10-year work experience, that's a cumulative points total 15. You do also have to, you do require a very good Canadian language benchmark. So the way the O language proficiency thing works is that they do have a way to classify the score you get on whatever approved English language testing exam or French that you do take. They got the Canadian language benchmark. So if you do have a Canadian language benchmark, which is referred to, it is shortened as the CLB. So if you do have a CLB 8 and above, you should be getting the maximum score for your language. That's for the first language. However, for the second language, which might be English or French, like I said earlier, so if you do also have the CLB 8 or higher, then you should also have the maximum score for that. So, and for age, in Saskatchewan, it's expected that you should, for you to have the maximum score for age, you should be, say, oldest 34 years of age. So the moment you're crossing the border 34, you're probably going to be losing some point for age. I think if you're pretty younger than 22 as well, you might not be getting the total score for that. So the age range they're really favoring best is 22 to 34 for you to have the maximum score. Also in Saskatchewan, if you do have a relative or maybe a family member who lives in Saskatchewan, should be able to get up to 20 points for having someone that lives in Saskatchewan. So all of this put together, there are also things that contribute towards the score. You know, like I said, the total is 110. Like if you are already worked in Saskatchewan before, for those that are probably studying in Saskatchewan and they're already working, so that contributes. So those three provinces I already spoke about today. They're really very popular in Nigeria as well. But there are also other provinces which we might also, talk about at maybe a later time.
All right, all right. So apparently, I think the main thing will be for people to start as early as possible, considering that age is a factor, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also, I don't think there is other way than to get an English language proficiency, and you want to max that out to your own advantage. Basically, so I learned that the proficient nomination can fetch you like 600 marks or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's right. If you do get, so what happens is for those who, for certain reasons, they're not able to get the federal express entry nomination. So if you do get nominated by one of the provinces, then you would be able to get 600 points extra, which add to whatever you got already in the pool, and which brightens your chances of being nominated at the federal level.
Yes, exactly. So let's say the express now
Express entry.
requires, let's just say, assuming is 500 plus now. So, and
Yes,
you've
that's
got
right.
600 already from the province.
Exactly.
That's like a go,
You
isn't
already
it?
you already crossed the line, so you
Yeah,
you
yeah.
almost dead sure that you would be nominated that way. Yeah.
So quickly, because someone might feel like, oh, why are people not going for provincial nomination? What are the barriers? What are the challenges? And are they surmountable?
Well, I think people, like I said, different strokes for different folks. So it depends on what your situation is at the moment. So if you
Mm,
do get a federal nomination, it allows you, to live or arrive in Canada in whichever city, in whichever province that you do want to live. Having, probably done your own research and you determine this is the best city I want to live or this is the best province for me. So,
yeah,
however, so if it is a provincial nomination, the province that has nominated you expects you to live and work and contribute to their own economy. So they do
for how
expect you to
long?
live. Well, I wouldn't say, it is really stated in any. I'm not a lawyer anyway, so I actually don't know so much, about that area. So, but I would say that it is really not stated to say, or because you got nominated by this province, you should live in the province for this number of years. So, but there is, to the best of my own knowledge, if you live in a province for good number of years, say 3 to 5 years, that's okay. You've contributed in no small measure to that province. So, but I think there is freedom of movement in the country, generally and basically. But any province that nominates you would expect that you live and work in the
Yeah.
province and contribute to their own economy. Yeah.
Okay, so apart from being limited to the province you have to live and work, if you got into the pool by provincial nomination, is there any other thing people need to be aware of?
So I think also the other thing that you need to be aware of is the fact that various provinces have got various priorities. So, for instance, in a province like Saskatchewan, their priority might be in the agricultural sector. Whereas in a province like, say, for instance, in Ontario, their own priority in Ontario might be in the tech. So it is for you to research and find out where you belong. For instance, if you're in the tech industry and Ontario is more focused on bringing people in the tech field
Yeah,
into their own province, then it does mean that you probably will be leaning towards Ontario more than leaning towards any other province. So that's
yeah,
one way to look at it. So you're looking at your own future prospectively to say, if I do remain in this province, at least in the meantime, the next 3, 4, 5 years, so you're able to say, okay, this province, I stand a better chance of moving up the ladder from whatever level you're starting in the province, moving up. So again, apart from the priorities that the various provinces they've got in terms of what their focus is, the job demand and the market that they've got in their own province. The other thing is the variation in weather. So the weather varies from province to province, and you can imagine in a province like Ontario, it could be, say, in the winter, an average negative 10 degrees. So, and in the same country, in a province like Saskatchewan or Alberta, it might be an average negative 25 degrees or negative 30. So it's all dependent on, I think those are not really very critical reasons for people to say, because the weather also varies from time to time. So, but again, weather varies a lot from one province to the other in Canada. So, unlike many other countries, probably where you've got the weather pretty similar. So it's a large country, and because of that, the weather also varies, from place to place.
all right. Thank you so much, Said. So, what do you advise, or is there anything we've not covered so far that you think, if anybody, if you want to talk to anyone about the best way to migrate to Canada, I kept wanted to say the UK. So, the best way to migrate to Canada in 2023 and beyond, what would you say? What are the advice you give to especially the youngster?
So I would say, in conclusion, I would say it's best for you to start as soon as possible. So you don't want to like wait till whenever. Like you don't want to procrastinate. So you want to get on this as soon as possible. You got your degree ready, go for it. Go for the credential evaluation. You need to write an English proficiency exam. Start preparing. So whatever it requires that you know what level you are at the moment. You don't know what you would require to pass the exam. So, and we already talked about the Canadian language benchmark. So you do want to understand how that works based on the approved language proficiency exam you want to take to see, okay, what do I need to score for me to be on CLB 8 and above? So you should know by that, you would be able to determine your level of preparation. If you do require, say, a 2 weeks, you do require a 1 month, you do require a 2 month preparation period before you write your exam. So all of these stages and processes of things that you need to do, you want to get it ready as soon as possible. If you're talking about the proof of fund as well, depending on your family size and what is stated on the government website that you do require for the size of your family, you do want to get that ready as soon as you can. So at a point where you get nominated, you're not now set back by the fact that you don't have the required fund for the family size. So you want to put all of this in place very quickly. And again, like we said, age is a factor in Canada. So the earlier you determine your situation, that you determine what you want to do next, and moving out of wherever you are right now, the better for you. Because, like I said, most of the provinces are looking at people, and even the federal nomination, I said earlier that it's best for people 30 and lower. So it means if you're already more than 30 years of age, you do want to get out of wherever you are as soon as possible, because the more years you do stay, the more marks you're probably losing on the age side of things. So all of this, you want to put them together to determine if this is the right time for me to leave and when is the best time for me to leave. So, but I would say, if you ask me, now is the time to, dust everything, put it together, and ready to go.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. And it's been a pleasure having you. Um, I think on this note, we'll have to release you for now. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that you are happy to join us once again to discuss
Yeah.
in details all these points we've itemized today.
Yeah.
So until next time we meet, thank you so much and stay blessed.
Thank you very much. See you some other time. Bye.
Bye.